the extinction, and they are all around us today. The birds.
Well, you can chat live right now to the producer of Walking with Dinosaurs, Tim Haynes, and the director of animation, Mike Milne, on BBC Online at www.bbc.co.uk/dinosaurs.
For me, Steffi epitomised a true sportswoman. She revolutionised tennis with her athleticism.
If you remember, '66 was the World Cup year. We were chewing our fingernails at 1-1, and then extra time it all happened. So I all remember the great Bobby Moore.
Muhammad Ali gave up the best years of his fighting life, and he still won the World Championship 3 times.
Who do you want the sports personality of the century to be? It's your call.
It was an extraordinary event. I mean, anyone who was anyone in pop and rock at that time was involved in Live Aid.
The BBC has always brought you the things that matter. Now experience the millennium with our special programmes and events.
Victor's pondering his liver in the lotus position, 1 foot in the grave, on BBC One in half an hour. This is BBC One. Now at 9 o'clock, the BBC News with Peter Sissons.
More government defeats in a final trial of strength between Commons and Lords. Peers refuse to back down. Disability cuts are sent back to the Commons. Russia's Chechnya onslaught. America says it breaks the rules of war. And lost for words in Ghana after the script slightly misjudges the mood. Good evening. The House of Lords, doomed in its present form, isn't going quietly. In a crunch vote, rebel Labour peers, backed by Tories and Liberal Democrats, and a blast of defiance by Hereditaries, again sent back to the Commons key parts of the government's flagship welfare reform bill. The Lords' amendments object to certain cuts in disability benefits, and which affect the rights of war widows. The government vows it will get its bill, but time is running out. From Westminster, our political editor, Robin Oakley, reports.
It was the commuter train from Epsom en route to the Lords this morning for the man who's once again seen off the government. Lord Ashley has led the fight against ministers' plans, which would involve cuts in benefits to many disabled.
If I don't fight with my support in the House of Lords, hundreds of thousands of severely disabled people will suffer when this bill is enacted. And that is why they need a champion, and we are trying to do what we can to fight for them.
Lord Ashley and his allies in the Lords are fighting changes which would restrict the entitlement of some disabled people and use means tests to cut the benefits of others who've saved for occupational pensions. Kitchen designer Adam Thomas is the sort they have in mind. Adam doesn't draw benefits now, but will when he becomes too ill to work.
I feel betrayed in a way because I've done everything Tony Blair has asked. I've managed to find a full-time job, having spent a long time trying. I'm now just about managing to save for a pension. I've done everything he's asked. Why is he going to penalise me in the last few years of my life?
Tonight in the Lords, Labour rebels, Tory peers, Liberal Democrats and crossbenchers combined once more to echo that protest and defeat the government soundly.
Contents 260, not contents 127, and so the contents have it. Motion number 4.
Ministers say their plans will target help on the most severely disabled. But their arguments and veiled threats that compromises on Lords reform could be ditched were rejected after impassioned objections from the likes of Lord Ricks, the chairman of the charity MenCap.
We're talking about the lives of hundreds of thousands of disabled people, many of whom are among the poorest in our society. Decisions about their future should be taken in all conscience and in a climate of utmost seriousness, not on the basis of political calculation.
For the government, Lady Hollis bravely accused her opponents of peddling myths. She insisted there was nothing to be gained by peers sending the bill back for another Commons vote this week.
Ping-ponging the bill will not bring forward any further concessions. I quote the Secretary of State. I quote, "There are no further changes to come. The Lords must understand that."
Ministers have a pile of legislation left and little time to push it through. They'll now take this bill back swiftly to the Commons and use their majority to vote down the Lords' amendments. They'll then send it back once more to the peers, expecting to have their way. But they're having their tails twisted, and they don't like it. Robin Oakley, BBC News, Westminster.
The Americans have accused Russia of breaking international agreements on the conduct of war in its offensive against the breakaway Republic of Chechnya. Earlier, the Russian Foreign Minister Igor Ivanov accused the West of double standards and denied there was a humanitarian crisis in Chechnya. Today, more Russian reinforcements were ordered in and thousands more refugees poured into the neighbouring Republic of Ingushetia. From there, Orla Gerin sends this report.
The West pleads for peace, but Russia is determined to fight. Its forces are pounding Chechnya. They've closed in on the second largest town, Gudermes. The strategy is to overwhelm the town with air and artillery attacks. It's working, but this is indiscriminate warfare and it's killing rebels and civilians alike. Moscow isn't worried. It's making big gains, taking back territory it lost control of years ago. For the Russian military, Chechnya has always been unfinished business. This time, Moscow believes it will crush the rebels. There have been some Russian losses, but senior commanders are relishing the fight. So much so, they say they won't stop for anyone, not even the Kremlin. Our troops will remain here until every bandit is destroyed, said General Gennady Troshev. In fact, we'll stay forever. Moscow is pouring yet more troops and tanks into the Republic. This is a popular war in Russia, with elections coming.